YouTube, what is good? Welcome to today's episode. So if you have been following the channel for a while, specifically the last year, you know that I've been switching back and forth between my Nikon D810 and my Fujifilm XH1. The Nikon is a full frame camera and the Fujifilm is an APS-c sensor, which is a little bit smaller. And some videos we go out and we shoot with the Fujifilm, some videos we make photos with the Nikon, sometimes we film the vlog with the Nikon, sometimes we film it with the Fujifilm. And because of this, I get so many questions from people asking, why do you use both? What camera should I get? Do you recommend this? Do you recommend that? What do you think about this? And today I just wanted to try to answer as many of these questions as possible and give y'all some clarity on why I use these two camera systems, because I think I'm kind of in a special group here. Now, something important to understand, I have no experience with Nikon crop sensor cameras. I haven't used one in maybe 5 years, so not a lot of experience there. And I've never used Fujifilm medium format cameras. My only experience with Fujifilm is in this APS-c sensor, and my main experience with Nikon is in their full frame professional lineup. So keep that in mind as you're watching this video. So the first question that I get the most is, why do you use both? Why do you have both of these cameras? Why don't you just stick with one or the other? And I'm kind of in a weird minority here in that I make these YouTube videos. I have a schedule for YouTube that I try to keep every week, which is 2, sometimes 3 videos a week, but I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I still do freelance photography. I love freelance photography. It's my favorite thing ever, being a professional photographer, and I don't plan on changing that anytime soon. And because of that, the Nikon was the main camera I was using even before I started this YouTube channel. And when I did initially start the channel, I used the Nikon for vlogs. I also had like a little point and shoot camera, and I was using a Fujifilm X Pro 2 as like a street photography camera. And basically what happened was I got to the point where filming these YouTube videos, when I would go out to shoot, if I was making a photo vlog telling the story of me making photos, I didn't want to bring such a large setup every single time. I mean, we're talking about $5,000 worth of equipment that also is super important to my livelihood. It's the camera I use as my professional photo camera, be it my Nikon. So there were times where I was making these vlogs and I didn't want to have the camera with me. It was stressing me out and it was actually affecting the videos. So when Fujifilm last year announced the XH1, which was primarily designed for video, I jumped on it, got this camera, and it's basically become my YouTube camera. When I don't want to use the Nikon, this is the camera I use. I use it for a lot of vlogs. I use it for a lot of the photos I make when I go out to shoot in the vlogs, and it's worked out great. Fujifilm has a lot going for it, which we will get into a little bit later in the video, but that's the main reason why I have both. I already had some stuff in the Fujifilm world because I was using it as a street photo camera, and when I decided to make the jump into having a secondary like YouTube camera that wasn't my professional photo camera, that's why I started using the two systems. Now, that's why I'm kind of in the minority here. There aren't a ton of YouTubers really dabbling in two worlds. There's freelance people, there's people who do YouTube, and I'm kind of walking the line between each one. So different cameras for different jobs, different tools for different jobs. That is the way I look at it. So the second main question that I get is, which one is better? Is the Nikon full frame better? Is the Fujifilm APS-c better? Which one should I get? And unfortunately, better is a relative term. Better is defined by what you need and what you have and what you know. Interesting fact about me, the college degree I have is in exercise science. And one thing you learn when you're getting an exercise science degree is you might write an exercise program for one person for what they need, and that same program won't translate to another person because they have different variables affecting them. Their body's different, their lifestyle's different, their mind is different, everything's different. And the same thing applies to cameras. One camera is going to do a certain list of things well, and another camera is going to do another certain list of things well. So there's no better or worse. There's just the best tool for the particular job. And I think I've kind of found a happy medium in using these two camera systems. Now, one interesting thing about saying one is better than the other is it's a matter of personal preference. If I show you side-by-side video of Fujifilm video footage and Nikon video footage, some people might say they like the Fujifilm style of video better. Some people might say they like the Nikon style of video better. That's, once again, the difference between the two cameras, the two sensors. One has more of a full frame look, one has more of a APS-c look, but it's just a matter of personal preference. And for me, I can tell the difference when I film a vlog on one camera to the other, but neither is necessarily better or worse than the other. It just depends on the particular application of the camera. So I don't want to get too crazy into it. I can't give you a definite answer on which one is better. I just know in certain situations it's better to use the Fujifilm, certain situations it's better to use the Nikon, based on a super long list of variables that I'm not going to get into in this video today. What I will get into is what I like and dislike about each system. So with the Nikon, things that I like a lot. The autofocus is extremely fast. You do get the full frame look when you are filming and making photos with this camera. There's just like a level of depth and punch you get to your photos and video that, like I said, some people might not like, but for me, I really like, and I feel like it adds to the style of my photos. Another great thing about the Nikon system is the lens selection. You can go all the way back into Nikon's old lenses, and you also have options like Sigma and Tamron and all these secondary companies, where the Fujifilm, you are stuck in the Fujifilm world. You can only use Fujifilm lenses for the most part, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Fujifilm has a great lineup of lenses themselves. It's just, you know, it'd be nice if there was like a Sigma Fuji option. I would definitely really like that. Now, another great thing about Fujifilm is the color science of these cameras. It is crazy, especially if you have vivid colors in real life that you can see. The camera does a fantastic job of capturing them. There are plenty of times where I've made a photo with this Fujifilm and thought to myself, I don't know if these colors would have came out the same way on my Nikon, even though it does have the bigger sensor and it is full frame. It's just something about the way this camera processes color that I really enjoy. And I also really enjoy the ergonomics and setup of the camera itself. The fact that you can change your aperture here, you have all the dials. It's just something satisfying about using this particular camera, especially coming from a DSLR background. I felt the transition from one to the other is actually pretty seamless, and it's easy to move back and forth between them. Now, I'm sure you're watching this video and thinking, well, if you needed a secondary camera, why didn't you go with Canon or go with Sony or even the Nikon Z series? In hindsight, had I known the Nikon Z series was coming out, I might have gone down that road, but a year ago, that wasn't even on the radar for Nikon. One of Nikon's biggest issues at the time was the fact that they were still sort of lacking in the video department, and that's why I decided to stick with Fujifilm. And the Fuji color science over someone like Sony, it's night and day difference for me personally. I just enjoy what you get from the Fujifilm camera more. Canon, on the other hand, there is an argument for their color science rivaling something like Fujifilm, depending on what you like. It's really a combination of all those factors, the ergonomics, the enjoyment I get out of using it, as well as the color science that has kept me using Fujifilm as my secondary / YouTube main camera for the last year. Whereas the Nikon has all the pros and the things that you would expect from a very high level professional camera. It's reliable and it gets the job done. It's an extreme workhorse, and it's the camera you need to have for me for those big professional jobs where things can't go wrong. Everything has to be extra on point. So that's where I stand. I really enjoy mirrorless, really enjoy DSLRs, and I'm getting to the point where this Nikon is almost 4 years old. It's like maybe 3.5 years old now, and I'm about having to upgrade my professional camera, and I'm having a very difficult time figuring out what's next, which road I want to go down. So I'm like all y'all. I'm just trying to figure out what camera is best for me, because there's no such thing as a perfect camera, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm using the Fujifilm for my YouTube stuff and the Nikon stuff for my professional work. I hope this video gave you some clarity for everyone who's been wondering over the last year, what's my logic? How do I use these cameras? How do I integrate them into my workflow? If you want to see more photography videos from me, ones like this, or photography vlogs where we actually go out to shoot, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down there. I would greatly appreciate it. Y'all are the truth. Thank you so much for watching these videos, and I will see you hopefully on Wednesday. We're getting back to to the normal video schedule. I'm gonna try to do a Wednesday and Friday this week. So I'll see y'all then.